me candy.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Monday Movie Night. I'm your host, Damian Nova, and today we are looking at Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. Listen, I'm trying not to fall down a rabbit hole of too many Blaxploitation horror films, but after seeing Blackenstein, I was like, you know what? I need to watch another one of these. Something's got to be good in this pit. Blaxploitation films are hit or miss. They're either really, really great or they're so bad they're good. It's hard to gauge these. But when they start stepping into horror, the campiness of those films can be seen as comedic when you add horror elements to it. While Blackenstein does have a ton of comedic elements, I do feel like they played it really straight, and I think that's what makes it so bad it's good. Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, on the other hand, they have terrific actors in this film. Bernie Casey, Rosalind Cash, Mario Henry, Stu Gilliam. It's filmed beautifully. It looks really, really good. The sound needs some work. Some of the visuals, because it was actually filmed on film, look like it needs to be cleaned up. And while I do have the 35th anniversary DVD of this film, I feel like this would look better on VHS. I don't know. Anyway, so this movie came out in 1976. It was directed by William Crane, who also did Blackula. So Blackula is a really good film. Maybe I'll talk about it one day. And I could see how his filming style really affected this film. However, I think a lot of the problems are in the edit. It seems to be filmed out of order or edited out of order. I'm not really sure. There are no inconsistencies on the way people look or etc., but there are inconsistencies in the story, and we will get to that in a minute. The one thing I did want to talk about was the fact that it's called Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. Now, this is another one where it's Blackula, Blackenstein. You know, nobody in these films are called something black and something. This guy's name is something else. What's this guy's name? Dr. Henry Pride. This is probably the only time they could have called somebody Dr. Black. Yes, it is something to get the people in the seats. But this was the only time that they had to say, you know what? We're actually going to call this guy Dr. Henry Black. And they could have done it, and it would have made total sense. But they didn't do it. And that's weird to me, considering the name of the movie is Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. The opening to the movie is sort of like Blackenstein. It's got this sad jazz music playing over it. Very 70s jazz music. I mean, it's late 70s, so it's got that touch of Satan music. It's sort of mid to late 70s, where it's just sort of this light jazz is supposed to disarm you, and then it breaks off into this funk groove, which is just weird. Then the camera follows this car, this Rolls Royce, to this free clinic. Now, I have questions. It's not just, well, first of all, it's not just a free clinic. It's a free clinic and thrift store, which, if you were born in the 60s and you are aware that free clinics and thrift stores were one thing, comment below. I would love to hear stories about that, because that sounds fucking weird. And while doctors do be rich, I can't imagine a doctor that works at a free clinic driving a Rolls Royce, so that being good optics for the free clinic. Like, oh, well, you work at a free clinic and you drive a Rolls Royce? am I coming to the right place? Like, what the fuck? And then boom, titties. Boom, titties. We get titties. And I can't show them here, but there is more nudity in this than I expected. So, Bernie Casey plays this doctor, plays Dr. Pride. And he's sort of, I guess, when you work at a free clinic, you get paid, but you don't get paid good. So I assume this is sort of his cover so that he can work on his experiments. His experiments, this is where the edit for me gets kind of funny. You get great performances out of Rosalind Cash and Bernie Casey in these scenes, and Maria Henry, who plays this prostitute. You get these really good character building scenes. And I mean it. I am not joking. The first 15 minutes of this movie is character development, and it's really good. A little bit about Rosalind Cash, because she doesn't have a lot to do in this movie, and she's actually one of the best actors in the film. She's probably the best actor in this film. And you would know Rosalind from Tales from the Hood, General Hospital, the original The Omega Man. She has been she's done a ton of TV work, but they really don't give her a ton to do here. Bernie Casey is most of the film, which he should be. He's Dr. Jekyll in this. He's spectacular. Bernie Casey, I spoke on him on my Cleopatra Jones review. Click here for that review, and he is a really good actor. He's of course from football, and one of the few football players from that era, especially, that came out and said, you know what, I'm a pretty good actor, and has proven it. So we find out that Dr. Pride and Dr. Worth, Rosalind Cash character, have a weird love interest thing going on, but they're also colleagues in figuring out how to cure this liver disease that we'll get to later. They're almost there, and they've tried this on rats, and the rats have become aggressive. This rat becomes aggressive and turns all the way white and kills, the other rats. Now, the white thing in this movie is foreshadowed by the prostitute character who looks at the doctor and says, oh, you don't know nothing about living in the projects or the hood, and you look at you live white and you look white and you got this white coat on, and I bet you even your car is white.
That white coat really suits you, because you don't know nothing about the ghetto. I mean, you dress white, you think white, you probably even drive a white car. And you know what? If I was white, I just might have a chance.
The rule of threes happens, where it's like she's speaking on his whiteness and his proximity to whiteness in the job that he has, and then he gives this rat this serum, and the rat turns all the way white, and then he says, oh, I need a human test subject, which, sure, but why? There's the only reason you would need a human test subject is if the thing that is happening in the rats, meaning the rats are going through kidney failure, and it's helping the rats. And so now I need to test this on humans who are also dealing with kidney disease. That never really is leaned into. We just sort of skip around that. Either he needs to be sick, or he needs to be experimenting on someone to the point where it subverts our expectations on whether or not the monster going around killing people is him or not. That is the mystery of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I will say that when he does try it on a human being for the first time, we do get a really decent jump scare out of it. So after he finds out that the lady dies, he of course says, okay, I have no other choice but to try it on myself, which is weird. His colleague is like, what are you doing trying this on human subjects that's not ready yet? And he's just in a rush. He's just in a rush for some reason. We don't even really find out why he's in a rush. We find out why he's killing prostitutes, but we don't find out why he's in a rush to try this on humans. Meanwhile, all of this happens in like the first 20 minutes of the movie. So the middle of it kind of drags. He already has tried it on himself and has gone through this transformation, which is weak sauce, by the way, because he doesn't really change his appearance. He just turns white. And when I say white, I don't mean he turns into a white man. I mean, his face just goes pale, or he's paler. That he looks more like an albino black person than he looks like a white person. Like if they really leaned into it and made him, gave him a wig, or made it a white guy, like hired a white guy to act it out, and really say, okay, well, this is the white guy and this is the evil that is within him that wants to kill these prostitutes. And I would say black prostitutes, but there are white prostitutes that die in this too. So I don't understand the point of making him white other than to save money, because that's just what it feels like. It just feels like a cheap way to create this Hyde character, instead of deforming him so much that by the end of it, we finally realize, oh, it was him the whole time. But because that story has been told, I think the spoiler happened in the original movie. So now when you try to create it again, you kind of can't do it again. Cat is out of the bag. It's hard to put it back in there for a new audience and say, okay, forget that happened. It's one of the most popular horror films of all time, but forget that happened. The middle drags. He turns into this monster and he goes around just killing people and like attacking people, which it just doesn't make any sense. He kills a couple prostitutes, and that scene where he turns into the monster and goes to kill these prostitutes, it's in the wrong spot. Okay? It's in the wrong spot. If they put it, because there's a scene later where he asks the girl that he's working on out on a date. Okay? If he did this whole date thing and they were dating and she fell in love with him a little bit, and then he tries to convince, because later he tries to convince her to take the serum. As a matter of fact, he almost forces her to take the serum. She says, oh, well, I'm not going to take it unless you take it. And then he does it on himself. All of that would work if that scene where he turned and killed people came later, because that would be the shock. Oh, you've already been trying it on yourself. Holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, and then we find out, maybe we don't have the scene of him killing people. We just find out that prostitutes are dying, and we don't know why. We don't know why. We have never seen the monster. We don't see him. We just know that prostitutes are dead. And then later we find out that it's him, because he does tell this story.
She was a maid. This was at one time, believe it or not, a very high-class whorehouse. My mother would take me up the back steps. We lived in a room in the back, while she would go out and clean up the filth, and change the bed sheets and empty the trash, and clean the toilets, and look after those ladies of the evening. She developed this liver condition, and she just fell over. I didn't know what to do, so I ran out in the hall, and I started knocking on all the doors. I was screaming. Somebody got to help my mama. And not one of those ladies opened the door.
Okay, that's a decent motivation, I guess, for him to want to kill prostitutes. But it also doesn't line up with the whole liver thing. If you wanted to find a cure for what happened to your mother, then it seems like you would be doing experiments on prostitutes Um, and instead of just being a doctor, you would be a mad scientist and you would be doing experiments on prostitutes to try to find a cure, but it's killing these prostitutes and you don't care, you know, and that's how we find out that he's been doing it on himself because it's not working on the prostitutes. He doesn't have a liver illness, so why would it work on him? Why would a serum that is supposed to cure these liver diseases work on him if he doesn't have a liver disease? It doesn't make sense. If it turned out that he was also sick, that it was some degenerative disease that he got from his mother, that he inherited from his mother, and he because she was sick for so long and now he has it, so now he has to fix himself, but he's got to try it out on these, he's going to try it on these prostitutes first because them are some hoes that didn't help his mother. That would have been such a better movie. But they didn't do that, and that's frustrating that about this movie, because you have really good actors and the quiet moments are really good. The moments where he's just himself. You have one scene where he's sort of talking to himself, two scenes where he's sort of talking to himself as the Hyde character who has switched his personality is sort of switching in and out. And because Bernie Casey is a really good actor, you do see the switch a little bit, but he's also so good looking that it doesn't really read. The way this man is, he's statuesque and beautiful and tall and slender and muscular, and he's just beautiful. And I believe if you got another actor to maybe put on a heavier makeup to sort of hunch him over and make him look like a monster, it would have read better and we would have been able to differentiate. And that's all to say that if you create a better story about why he's took the serum, what he's doing to these prostitutes, instead of just going around choking prostitutes out, because that's all he does through the entire middle of the movie to the end of it. He's just choking prostitutes out. The police figure it out and they chase him, and we'll get to that in a minute. Ugh. Actually, you know what, there's not much else to say. That's it. So they chase him. They chase him to Watts Towers, and if you're familiar with what Watts Towers is, it's in the community of Watts in California. It's a beautiful installation of bottles and glass, and it looks like tile. And this artist has created these sort of monuments to community in the middle of the village of Watts, and it's beautiful. And this was in the 70s, and I think they just reopened it again. I think they refurbished it and reopened it in like 2022. So it's a beautiful scene, and the cops are like, well, we can't shoot him here because it will be like shooting the Washington Monument. It's like, okay. Only for him to climb one of the towers and for them to shoot him down and he falls and dies. I mean, that's the movie. I mean, there's little parts in between where the girl tries to convince him to turn himself in, and he's like, nah, I ain't doing that. I'm just gonna kill you. And that's where the chase scene came from. He's like, all right, I'm gonna kill you. And he just chases her, and it's a silly chase scene. So like her body language is like, she's like a Muppet. It's very, do I recommend this movie? I can't safely say I recommend this movie. It's not good, but the one thing about it is that they really got some great actors to make this film, and they really misused them. The edit is weird. The writing doesn't make any sense to the actual story that they're trying to tell. And I just think this has wasted potential. I'm going to give Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde a C-. I'm going to give it the same score as Blackenstein. Blackenstein was bad because it was hilariously bad, but it was also funny. This was not funny. There was some moments that were kind of funny, I guess, but it wasn't funny like Blackenstein, where it's campy. This wasn't campy. This was hard to watch. The fact that the actors in the film and the idea in the film is actually pretty solid. I'm going to stick with the C-. So that's it for today's Monday Movie Night. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you next week.
Candy.